On a secluded vacation in Hawaii, Sarah and Tom were captivated by the island's beauty and the tales of the Menehune, mythical, small-statured people said to be master builders that work under the cover of night. One evening, curiosity got the better of them, and they ventured deep into the forest, hoping to catch a glimpse of these elusive little fuckers. As the moon hung low in the sky, they came across an ancient stone wall, perfectly constructed but mysteriously incomplete. It was a Menehune construction, abandoned at the break of dawn, falling in line with the legend. Thrilled, they decided to camp nearby and see if the Menehune come back. In the dead of night, Sarah awoke to faint sounds, tiny footsteps in the mud, and the soft hum of distant voices. She quietly nudged Tom awake, and together they peeked out of their tent. There, in the moonlight, they saw them. Dozens of Menehune, no taller than 2 feet, working diligently on the wall. Fascinated, Sarah leaned forward, snapping a twig underfoot. The Menehune froze, their eyes locking onto her. Instantly, the forest grew silent. That's when she knew she fucked up. According to the lore, anyone who spies on the Menehune while they're working is doomed. But they didn't know this. The couple's heartbeats quickened as the Menehune vanished, leaving behind only the deafening silence of the night. The next morning, some villagers found the couple still by the ancient wall, turned to stone, their expressions frozen in fear. The Menehune had turned them into twin stone pillars standing on the wall that can be seen to this day. The Menehune had ensured their secrecy would remain intact, just as the legend warned. In the heart of Hawaiian mythology, the Menehune stand as some of the most intriguing and enigmatic figures. These tiny little shits are said to inhabit the deep forests and hidden valleys of the Hawaiian Islands, rarely seen by human eyes. They're described as stout, muscular, and standing between 2 to 3 feet tall, with darker skin, low foreheads, thick eyebrows, and eyes that give them exceptional night vision. Some are said to be as small as 6 inches, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. The Menehune are skilled craftsmen and builders, possessing remarkable strength and dexterity, despite their small stature. Hawaiians believed they could call on the Menehune to complete construction work overnight, paying them with 1 shrimp for each Menehune. They're obviously not union. The Menehune are known for their nocturnal nature, emerging only under the cover of darkness to construct their works with incredible speed and precision. Their craftsmanship is unparalleled, with creations scattered across the islands as silent testaments to their existence. These little guys are said to live in caves or primitive tent-shaped huts of sticks covered over with banana, fern, or other leaves, rather than the traditional plated thatched Polynesian home. Their favorite foods were bananas, fish, taro, and sweet potatoes, and they were known for their love of games and sports. They also enjoyed dancing, singing, and archery, but not all 3 at the same time. In Hawaiian mythology, the Menehune hold a special place, symbolizing the ancient connection between the land and its earliest inhabitants. Some early scholars hypothesized that Hawaii was first settled by people from the Marquesas Islands, who were later driven into the mountains by Tahitian invaders around 1100 AD. The Tahitians referred to these first settlers as Menehune, meaning lowly people, or literally translated, it means those lacking spiritual power, mana. Over time, these displaced people came to be known as the Menehune. The Menehune evoke both admiration and fear. They're respected as helpful builders, but also feared as tricksters who can either assist or hinder those who piss them off. This dual nature adds a layer of complexity to their character, making the Menehune a fascinating subject in cryptozoology. The Menehune's presence in Hawaiian culture has captivated generations, weaving a sense of wonder and mystery into the landscape they inhabit. To encounter the Menehune is to step into a world where myth and reality blur, where the ancient and the mystical intertwine in the shadows of Hawaii's lush forests. The lore of the Menehune is deeply woven into the fabric of Hawaiian culture, embodying both the history and the mystery of the islands. These elusive critters are central figures in many Hawaiian legends, often depicted as master builders with extraordinary skills, capable of constructing complex structures in a single night. The Menehune are said to work tirelessly between dusk and dawn, disappearing before the first light to ensure their activities remain unseen. They are supernatural stoneworkers with a deep connection to the west side of Kauai, Hawaii. The stories of the Menehune, passed down through generations, add to the rich tapestry of Hawaiian mythology. When the first Polynesians arrived in Hawaii, they found dams, fish ponds, roads, and temples, all attributed to the Menehune. Some of these structures, like the Alikoko fish pond in Kauai, still exist. A lava rock wall between the pond and the Hulia River, which is 900 feet long and 5 feet high, was built to create a dam across a portion of the river in order to trap young fish until they grew large enough for the community to consume. This lava rock wall, estimated to be 1,000 years old, is an unexplained engineering achievement. For parts of the wall, workers would have needed to work underwater. The stones they used came from Makaweli village, 25 miles away. Thousands of Menehune stood shoulder to shoulder and passed the rocks fire brigade style to the wall. Alikoko Fish Pond was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. The cultural significance of the Menehune extends beyond their role as builders. They symbolize a simpler, more harmonious time when the land was inhabited by those living in balance with nature. The Menehune are portrayed as peaceful, shy, and industrious, working in secret to create beauty and order. Their legacy reminds Hawaiians of humility, hard work, and respect for the land. The impact of the Menehune on Hawaiian culture is profound, influencing folklore, art, architecture, and social values. Structures attributed to the Menehune are sacred sites, and no bullshit, over 20 temples and other structures credited to the Menehune are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Necker Island, part of the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, contains 52 archaeological sites with 33 ceremonial heiau, basalt upright stones, and stone artifacts similar to those in the main Hawaiian Islands. Anthropologists believe Necker Island was a ceremonial site, with legends stating it was the last known refuge for the Menehune before being chased off Kauai by stronger Polynesians. Visits to the island began a few hundred years after the main Hawaiian Islands were inhabited and ended a few hundred years before European contact. 11 upright stones of what are believed to be the original 19 are still standing. A historic irrigation ditch near Waimea on Kauai, also known as the Menehune Ditch, was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1984. Hawaiians built many stone-lined ditches to irrigate ponds for growing taro, but rarely used dressed stone. The Menehune Ditch, predating the 1000 AD Tahitian migrations, features 120 cleanly cut basalt blocks, which would have required precision tools and techniques for cutting that line about 200 feet of the ditch. The legend of the Menehune remains a powerful force in Hawaii today, speaking to the enduring mystery of the islands where the natural and supernatural blur. Traditionally, tales of the Menehune were passed down by elders to younger generations, often during gatherings or around campfires. These stories embedded moral lessons, cultural knowledge, and respect for the environment, highlighting the importance of nature, hard work, and community cooperation, values deeply ingrained in Hawaiian culture. Sightings of the Menehune have been reported for centuries, adding layers of intrigue to the already mysterious legends surrounding these tiny folks. Though often fleeting and shadowy, these encounters have left a lasting impression on those who have witnessed the Menehune, further cementing their place in Hawaiian folklore. These sightings are in chronological order, revealing a fascinating twist that deepens the mystery of these badass little people. There are several reports of people finding small, childlike footprints creating a trail through their homes, going up the walls and even across their ceilings. Okay, that's a little fucking creepy. The earliest recorded sightings of the Menehune date back to the 18th century, when the early European explorers and missionaries arrived in Hawaii. These newcomers were told stories by the native Hawaiians about the Menehune, and some even had encounters themselves. One of the most famous early accounts comes from the journals of Captain James Cook, who visited the Hawaiian Islands in 1778. Cook's crew recorded stories from the local people about small, nocturnal beings who lived in the mountains and forests. Although the sailors themselves did not report seeing the Menehune, they were taken aback by the consistency, sincerity, and the amount of the encounters they were told of by the natives. In the early 19th century, sightings of the Menehune became more frequent, particularly in the more remote areas of the islands. In 1820, a group of missionaries reported seeing small figures moving quickly through the forest as they traveled through the island of Kauai. The missionaries described the figures as being about 2 feet tall, with dark skin and a quick, purposeful gait. They noted that the figures seemed to disappear almost as soon as they were seen, melting into the shadows of the forest. This account is significant, not only because of its early date, but also because it comes from fellas who were typically skeptical of local superstitions and legends. Another notable sighting occurred in 1862 on the island of Oahu. A plantation worker named Kimo encountered a group of Menehune while working late at night near a sugarcane field. According to Kimo, he saw a line of small figures moving silently through the field, each one carrying a stone. When he called out to them, the figures froze, turned to look at him, and then vanished into the night, leaving behind only the stones they had been carrying. Kimo's story spread quickly among the plantation workers, many of whom claimed to have seen similar things over the years. By the early 20th century, the sightings of the Menehune had become a well-established part of Hawaiian culture. In 1904, a school teacher on the island of Maui reported seeing a group of small figures near the base of a waterfall while on a hike with her students. The figures, which she described as no more than 3 feet tall, appeared to be gathering stones from the riverbed. When the teacher and her students approached, the figures quickly disappeared into the dense foliage. Despite the briefness of the encounter, the teacher was adamant that what she had seen was real, and her story was widely reported in local newspapers. One of the most compelling modern sightings occurred in 1944 during World War II. A group of soldiers stationed on the island of Kauai claimed to have seen the Menehune while on a night patrol in the mountains. According to their account, they saw a group of small, human-like figures moving quickly through the trees, carrying tools and building materials. The soldiers, who were initially skeptical, followed the figures for some time before losing them in the dense undergrowth. Despite their disbelief, the soldiers could not shake the feeling that they had witnessed something extraordinary. Their account was later corroborated by other members of their unit who had nearly identical experiences. In 1964, a Hawaii newspaper stated that an 11-year-old boy in Makaha claimed to have seen a Menehune. Now, when questioned by the school principal and a reporter, the boy said that he was watering the front lawn when he thought he heard somebody behind him. He turned and there was a short man dressed in a cloak and a helmet. He was about as tall as a mailbox. The principal asked the boy if he was excited. He replied, "I don't know what I was. He smiled at me, sort of mischievous, and then walked away. He had big eyes like a cat. He walked real slow. When he ran around the corner of the house, I got excited. I wanted to follow him, but he disappeared." The reporter explained in his article that the mother showed him 2 sets of footprints in the mud under a newly planted plumeria tree, another set at the corner of the house, and 5 muddy footprints going up the wall across the picture window. What the fuck? Could the Menehune have been a youngster wearing a mask? "No," the boy said, "because he smiled and you can't see a smile with a mask on." When the principal asked the boy if he'd ever seen a real witch or goblin, the boy replied, "I don't believe in things like that." He was serious enough that the adults around him, including his principal and the reporter, were convinced that the boy believed he definitely saw a Menehune. In 1972, a group of campers on the island of Molokai reported seeing small figures moving through their campsite late at night. The figures, which the campers initially thought were somebody's kids, were seen gathering stones and arranging them in patterns on the ground. When the campers approached, the figures scattered, disappearing into the darkness. The next morning, the campers found the stones arranged in what appeared to be the foundation of a small structure, though no other evidence of the figures remained. A Menehune sighting occurred in 2003 on the island of Kauai, near the famous Menehune fish pond. A local fisherman reported seeing a group of small figures near the edge of the pond, working with stones and mud. The fisherman watched in awe as the figures worked quickly and silently, shaping the stones with their hands. When he approached, the figures vanished into the surrounding forest, leaving behind only the partially completed structure they had been working on. This sighting, like so many more before it, left the witness with more questions than answers, deepening the mystery of the Menehune. The twist that emerged from these sightings is the consistency in the behavior and actions of the Menehune across centuries, despite the changing times and the growing skepticism of the modern world. In each account, the Menehune are seen working diligently, always with a clear purpose, and always disappearing as soon as they're noticed. This consistency suggests that the Menehune, whether real or imagined, are more than just a product of folklore. They are a living part of the Hawaiian landscape, interacting with those who are open to witnessing the extraordinary. These sightings, while often fleeting and shrouded in mystery, provide a tantalizing glimpse into the world of the Menehune. They leave us with a sense of wonder and a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still things that defy explanation. Explanations for the Menehune vary widely, with skeptics and believers offering contrasting interpretations of this fuckery. The debate between these two perspectives has intensified over time, with skeptics relying on rational explanations and believers asserting that the mystery of the Menehune lies beyond modern science. Skeptics often view the Menehune as a product of folklore and cultural memory, rather than as actual beings. A common explanation among skeptics is the ancient inhabitants theory, which suggests that the Menehune were the original, small-statured people who lived on the Hawaiian Islands before Polynesian settlers arrived. Over time, these early inhabitants were displaced and became mythologized as the Menehune. Skeptics argue that stories about the Menehune's nocturnal work and extraordinary skills are embellishments of historical facts passed down through generations. Skeptics also believe that the physical structures credited to the Menehune, such as the fish ponds, temples, and roads, were more likely built by early Polynesians who had advanced knowledge of architecture and engineering, even though they never took credit for the structures. The stories crediting these works to the Menehune were, according to this view, created to add mystery to these ancient constructions. Another explanation from skeptics is that the Menehune represent cultural symbolism, embodying values such as hard work, humility, and a connection to the land. In this view, the stories of the Menehune are symbolic, teaching lessons about perseverance and cooperation, rather than describing actual beings. The skeptical perspective is grounded in historical and cultural context, providing a logical framework for understanding the origin of the Menehune stories. However, skeptics tend to dismiss eyewitness accounts, often attributing them to misperceptions or the power of suggestion. By focusing strictly on rational explanations, skeptics overlook the more mysterious aspects of the Menehune phenomenon, which continue to captivate many. In contrast, believers maintain that the Menehune are real, existing either in the physical world or in a parallel dimension. Many believe that the Menehune are supernatural beings with abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. According to this view, their capacity to construct intricate structures in a single night, their ability to vanish without a trace, walking up walls and across ceilings, and their preference for working in secret all point to their existence as magical creatures who coexist with humans but remain hidden. One intriguing theory among believers links the Menehune to Homo Floresiensis, a small hominin species discovered on Flores Island in Indonesia in 2003. Some suggest that the Menehune could be a remnant population of Homo Floresiensis, or a similar species that once inhabited Hawaii. This theory posits that ancient populations of small humans may have survived in isolated pockets, later becoming the basis for legends. The believers' explanations embrace the mystery and wonder of the Menehune, allowing for the possibility that there are still unexplained phenomena in the world. The supernatural aspects of the Menehune stories resonate with human fascination with the unknown, adding depth to the legends. The connection to Homo Floresiensis offers a scientific angle, suggesting a historical basis for the existence of small-statured beings. However, the believer's perspective relies heavily on anecdotal evidence, which is difficult to verify. The theory connecting the Menehune to Homo Floresiensis also faces significant challenges, as there is no archaeological evidence to suggest that this species ever reached Hawaii, as of yet anyway. Three prevailing theories exist regarding the origins of the Menehune. First, some believe the Menehune were a true race of people, as suggested by a census in 1820, where 65 folks identified themselves as Menehune and Wainea Kauai. Historian R.S. Koikendall also concluded that the Menehune were humans, though no skeletal remains of a small race have been found on Kauai or other Hawaiian Islands. Another theory, proposed by ethnologist Bruce Cartwright, suggests that a Hawaii lowboat may have transported the Menehune to Hawaii, where they became part of the local population. Cartwright posits that later arrivals, such as the Nanalu, interbred with the Menehune. Finally, there are claims that the Menehune are not mentioned in pre-contact mythology, and therefore, the name does not refer to an ancient race of people. However, this argument turns out to be pretty fucking lame, as nearly all accounts of the past in Hawaiian culture are passed down through word of mouth from one generation to the next, meaning they didn't write shit down. Their word was it. The explanations for the Menehune range from rational and historical to mystical and supernatural. Whether viewed as displaced ancient inhabitants, symbolic cultural figures, or supernatural beings with ties to the hobbit people of Flores, the mystery of the Menehune continues to intrigue and inspire. The debate between skeptics and believers highlights the complexity of this legend, leaving the true nature of the Menehune completely open to interpretation. The Menehune hold a special place in Hawaiian folklore, embodying the rich tapestry of myth, history, and culture that defines the islands. As master builders, secretive artisans, and guardians of ancient knowledge, their stories have been passed down through generations, shaping the collective memory of the Hawaiian people. These tales are not merely whimsical legends, but reflections of deeper cultural values, such as respect for the land, the importance of community, and the enduring connection to the ancestors who once walked these shores. The stories of the Menehune also serve as a bridge between the past and the present, offering glimpses into the lives of those who came before them. Whether they are remembered as ancient inhabitants, supernatural beings, or symbols of cultural identity, the Menehune remind us of the complexity and depth of human history. They illustrate how myths can preserve fragments of the past, blending reality with imagination to create a narrative that speaks to the core of who we are. Ultimately, the Menehune are more than just characters in a story. They are a testament to the ways in which culture and history intertwine. Their legend continues to captivate and inspire, leaving us to wonder what other mysteries might still be hidden within the fabric of our world. If you made it this far, do me a huge solid. Tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. That way, you won't miss out on more of my crazy-ass videos. And besides, I really do appreciate it. I've also got some kick-bucking-ass merch. The link's down in the description. I've got Scarinator shirts and tanks. I got Stay Creepy mugs, t-shirts, stickers, and all kinds of miscellaneous stuff. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you for watching and listening until the very end. You kick total ass.